Welcome to the channel. Today we're working on the 63 and I'm installing some sound deadening insulation and a little bit of heat insulation in the car.
We're at the movies, huh?
Yep, we're at the movies. Put heat insulation in the car. That's my primary goal here. I'm really not too concerned with sound deadening because fiberglass cars are different than steel cars in the terms of, like, that's steel. You can hear that little buzz afterward. And fiberglass doesn't really have as much of a resonation. Doesn't resonate as much versus steel. It sounds more like a drum that you have your hand on. It doesn't ring as long, but it still does a little bit. And this car has back exhaust, and if you look at the routing, it kind of comes right in this area here. And this car doesn't have AC, and I know mid-year coupes can get hot, and it is fiberglass, so it's an insulator and it can keep heat out, but it can also keep heat in. So my main goal is I want to keep heat down in this car. I'm going to use a couple different products to hopefully reduce the heat by a lot. So first, I wanted to start by scraping off some more of this carpet. Through this, I guess it's the foam backing from the carpet. I scraped a lot of it off, but there's still a lot left. And I'm not using Dynamat. I'm using a product very similar to it sold by Eastwood called X-Mat. So I watched a video online from Dynamat, and they said if you use their Dynamat Extreme product, which is very similar to this Eastwood product, which was on sale, I think I got it for $80 or $78 a case, and I think it's going to take 2 cases to do this car. So I bought that, and Eastwood's product said it can reduce your cabin up to 30 degrees. Put a link here for Coolmat. They're another company that makes the heat insulation. But on their website, if you look it up, it doesn't matter if you're working on a Corvette or what you're working on. Go to their website, look it up. If you're trying to measure to see how much material you need, if you're buying not a pre-cut kit, if you're buying a kit that you want to cut and figure out how much you need for the floor well to go over the tunnel in the back, go on their website and it tells you the square footage that each car is. So it segregates it in the front and the back. So I think the front stops here, it goes here to the toe boards, and the back kit goes from here back. And I think the front, it ends up being 52 square feet between the front and the back. I mean, you can sit here and measure this, but it's just a lot easier to look it up, and that way you know exactly how much you need. So I got that kit, and it's a butyl rubber. So if you're familiar with butyl rubber, anytime you get it dirty, it doesn't work. So a lot of this stuff is real gritty, this foam. So if it touched this foam, you're not going to adhere to that very well. So I want to scrape all that up. I don't want to necessarily scrape into the fiberglass because it probably won't bite into that very well either. But they do recommend that you paint your steel floor, in a steel car. So if there's a little bit of paint or just bare gel coat or whatever is on the floor, it should be perfectly fine. But I was using a putty knife and just a razor blade on a handle. This is definitely one of the jobs that those car TV shows don't put emphasis on. Like, they don't put emphasis on scraping gaskets. They don't put emphasis on the time it takes to scrape the floor. They just have 3 weeks to save the shop, get a car done, and they don't show all that fun stuff. And also, if you notice, they don't have headliners on most of those cars because they take a lot of time. So I'm sure those cars they build in like 2 weeks on the Discovery Channel TV shows, I'm sure they cut a lot of corners like that. But since this car, I want it to be a fair weather car, and fair weather is normally pretty hot, so I don't want to wait for that perfect temperature day for this thing. If it's a little bit too hot, not too hot for the engine, but if it's too hot for me, I don't want to have to worry about sweating in this thing since it has a black interior. So I'm going to try to go all out and cool this thing as much as I possibly can because I don't have AC. And we're just winging it. All we have is the vent windows. So I don't know if you can see the difference, what it should look like without foam and what it looks like with foam. So I could probably get it a little cleaner than this, but I'm going to move to the back. Now the inside of the car is cleaned out. I scraped it, then I used a prep solvent, wax and degreaser to remove any dirt or any grease or material that's left, and vacuumed it out a couple times. So now I'm going to start with, I think I want to do the back wall first. And to make my templates, I'm just going to use my carpet. So I got that one out of the box, brought it up here. It's a little bit long, which is obviously good to have more. So let's have to remember that whenever I use this stuff, because I don't need it to be this long. All the seams can be covered up with tape. So get a piece of this stuff out. And I already laid it out once. And I'm going to need 2 sheets of this stuff. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tape these 2 together, lay that carpet over it, trace it, then cut it, and then I'll put them in one at a time. Alright, so next I'm going to start putting these pieces in. I'm going to start with the piece that goes on the driver's side. And here's that little roller that you, once you peel the backing off, you use this to get that butyl to stick on the back. So I think I'm going to want to set this in here and peel the backing off of this side and work our way out. That ain't gotta work. Not a lot of room back here. Good thing I'm pretty short. So we'll start off by peeling the backing a decent amount, far enough that I can keep peeling it once I start to stick this to the car. I also don't want it to stick prematurely. I got the first piece cut out and roughly in. I think I want to cut off that tab over there by the wiring. And there's just a couple little more adjustments I need to make, but once you're ready, you peel that backing off, and I have a little rubber roller over on the toolbox over there that you use to roll it on with. So from here on out, the rest of this video after this piece is just going to be me going downstairs. If I need to get a piece of carpet, get a piece of carpet for a reference, and cutting it like I did over there. It cut really easy with scissors. And then trimming, fitting, and then peel the back off and use the roller to get it on. So it's pretty easy. And I have 2 cases of this stuff, so we'll see how far we get. But I mean, this is a pretty big area back here. Once we get up front, we're getting into like, you know, a third of a piece down here, a third of a piece there. So I think right now we'll use a lot in the back, but we'll slow up once we get up here. So I guess I'll make a couple more trims on this, and then I'll start rolling that one in place. inside of the car is completely covered with X-Mat, and today I just got in the next layer of heat protection today. So it's back ordered for a while, but it's another layer of foil, and I think it has like fiberglass on the back. So I got some glue, which this is what that Corvette America glue ended up being. Get a better light. Just 3M high strength contact adhesive. So I'll shake this up, spray both sides, let it tack up, and then I think I'll just lay it down, and then I'll need to cut it in a couple places to let it fit. But I got the front and the rear kit, so there's 3 pieces for the front, one that goes over here, one for the toe board, one on the side of the tunnel, and there's 1 piece for the back, so this shouldn't take very long to install. Let that sit, and maybe I can do carpet tomorrow. Alright, so the heat barrier is in. It's just the 1 piece in the back and the couple in the front. For some reason, the passenger side isn't as long as the driver's side. It went up to the firewall the whole way back to this edge, and this one's a little bit shorter, but that's okay. I'll be over there most of the time probably, so that's okay. That's going to do it for this video. If you enjoyed, please give it a thumbs up. Check out the rest of the videos on this channel. I'm going to have a lot more coming on the 63. It's been a while since I've made some videos, but I'm getting back into it. The next one should be on installing carpet over top all the insulation. And then, as you can see, there's back window trim on the car. So it's been a while since you've seen it, but stuff's been happening in the background. A lot of sanding on interior trim pieces that I have over there, and some stuff with the door panels and the dash is in it for the most part. But we'll get into that later. So I got a lot to do. So I'll catch you guys later.